Welcome to Inconvenient Truths. I'm your host, Jennifer Zheng. I'm sure you've seen some reports or videos about the recent floods that have occurred in the northern and northeastern regions of China over the past few days. Today, I want to talk briefly about a few important observations or pieces of information I've noticed regarding this flood disaster, and then focus on how this disaster might be part of the Doomsday puzzle for the CCP. Take a look at this warning message sent out by former mainland Chinese journalist Zhao Lanjian on July 28th. In his tweet, Zhao Lanjian mentioned that he received an urgent appeal from a leader within the CCP, stating that starting from the evening of July 29th, Beijing time, Hebei province would experience heavy rain. However, in order to protect Beijing, Hebei would be sacrificed. There is a possibility that a tragedy similar to the one that occurred in Zhengzhou City 2 years ago, where a tunnel was instantly flooded due to the release of floodwaters, resulting in countless deaths, could happen again. He added that Beijing and Hebei were being chaos and hoped that this information could be shared with overseas media outlets such as the Epoch Times, Voice of America, Radio Free Asia, and so on. This message was sent out 2 days before the floods arrived. In other words, there was ample time for the CCP to warn the public and organize evacuations if they wanted. Secondly, not only did the CCP fail to issue any warnings, but they also chose to release floodwaters suddenly in order to protect Beijing and Xi Jinping's pet project, the Xiong'an New Area. This led to a rapid rise in water levels in the Zhuozhou area of Hebei province, with water levels increasing by 6 to 9 meters overnight and reaching a depth of 12 meters in the deepest areas. Hundreds of thousands of people had no time to escape or prepare. Take a look at this image. The Xiong'an New Area was personally chosen by Xi Jinping 6 years ago as the designated area for easing Beijing's non-capital functions. The intention was to relocate certain non-capital function institutions in Beijing to this area. However, this area is located near the low-lying Baiyang Lake and is prone to flooding. Its elevation is much lower than that of Zhuozhou. So, why did Xi Jinping choose such a flood-prone area for the Xiong'an New Area? It's actually due to considerations of feng shui. Xi Jinping believes that establishing a secondary capital here would enhance his imperial aura. But this time, to protect Xiong'an, the higher ground of Zhuozhou was sacrificed. The CCP secretly dispatched armed police to blast holes in the river embankment, flooding Zhuozhou to save Xiong'an. This video shows armed police secretly digging the river embankment at night, which was discovered by local residents. This led to confrontations between the people and the officials. In some places, armed police even arrested local residents who tried to stop them and then proceeded to blast the river embankment wide open, causing floodwaters to submerge Zhuozhou and other areas overnight. So, when the public social media account called Xiong'an New Life posted that various areas in Hebei province have made significant sacrifices to protect Xiong'an, someone commented below saying they turned a flood storage area into a city and a city into a flood storage area. This person meant that Xi Jinping forcefully built Xiong'an City in an area that was originally a natural flood storage, turning the well-functioning city of Zhuozhou with its 660,000 permanent residents into a flood storage area. And it's important to note that the Xiong'an new area, saved by Zhuozhou with its population of 660,000, is currently mostly an empty city with very few residents. This flooding didn't save people in Xiong'an, it only saved Xi Jinping's face. Thirdly, during the flood, central leaders and the People's Liberation Army were nowhere to be found. No one from the government visited the disaster-stricken areas for condolences or to organize rescue efforts. Local governments were completely inactive, just lying flat and doing nothing. Fourthly, spontaneously organized civilian rescue efforts faced various obstacles. Some couldn't enter the disaster area due to a lack of official invitations from local governments, but the official seals of local governments were washed away by the flood waters, making it impossible to issue such invitations, creating a deadlock. Fifthly, a minority of grassroots organizations that managed to enter the disaster areas reported that there was no organized relief effort in place. Some areas had no internet, electricity, or drink water, and even if they managed to enter, they had no idea where people were trapped or where help was needed. Sixthly, the CCP tightly controlled the exposure of the real situation of the disaster. Take a look at this post. It says, quote, "All areas public opinion inspectors found that some rescue teams during their rescue operations illegally used mobile networks to maliciously live stream the rescue process and surrounding scenes, seriously damaging our area's image. Our inspectors promptly reported and decisively handled the situation by cutting off the illegal live streaming networks and apprehending several lawbreakers. At the same time, we cooperated with the Aviation Management Department to shoot down and destroy a batch of unauthorized drones that were secretly filming videos of the disaster area." Unquote. This is official information released by themselves, a way of boasting about how they successfully prevented the spread of truthful information. For local officials, this counts as an achievement. Seventhly, there's been almost no foreign heads of state or citizens expressing condolences or offering donation support to China for the disaster. Many Chinese netizens noticed that back in 1998, when China faced a major flood, not only did many foreign heads of state send condolences, but people from Taiwan and Hong Kong also made substantial donations. Hong Kong citizens donated 94 million US dollars, and during the 2008 Wenchuan earthquake, Hong Kong citizens donated a staggering 3 billion US dollars, accounting for half of the global donations received. But now, there's been no donations whatsoever from Taiwan or Hong Kong. This can only mean that the CCP's worried diplomacy in recent years and its suppression of Hong Kong and Taiwan have left everyone deeply disappointed, and no one wants to express sympathy for disasters under the CCP's rule anymore. Eighthly, CCP's official charitable organizations have completely lost their appeal. Due to the corruption within the Red Cross, most Chinese people are now unwilling to donate. When the Beijing Red Cross called for donations to help with flood relief, it was met with mockery and disdain. Many people donated just 1 Chinese cent to show their disregard. Later, the Red Cross coined a new term, malicious donation, claiming that those who donated only 1 cent of RMB were engaging in malicious donation, and they raised the minimum donation limit to 1 yuan in RMB. When the Beijing Municipal Party Committee and the government called for donations, they received over 400,000 messages in a single day, all criticizing the city government. Some even said, "Your government has money to support humanitarian aid to the Sudanese government." This is a report from China Central Television stating that on August 2nd, the Chinese embassy in Sudan provided 4.6 tons of humanitarian aid materials worth 10 million RMB to the Sudanese government. As a result, some netizens are saying, why donate to Sudan when they are not concerned about the lives of Chinese people? I've already paid my taxes. I'm not donating. Take a look at this video. It shows a well-known Chinese actor named Wang Baoqiang. He personally delivered relief supplies to rural areas, and many other famous actors also choose to personally deliver aid to disaster-stricken areas, bypassing the government and the Red Cross. This clearly shows that the CCP and official charity organizations have completely lost their credibility. Ninthly, after the floodwaters receded, official rescue teams arrived and began massive falsification. Numerous photos and videos circulating online show that not only did the authorities fail to provide timely rescue efforts, but they also fabricated false propaganda reports related to the disaster. For instance, this video has nothing to do with disaster relief. They are just filming a video that appears to be about relief effort, receiving those who are not present. See? It's just a fake propaganda video. So this man say they can fabricate everything. Okay, let's stop here and look at this photo. It shows that the water is shallow enough to walk through, yet they are pretending to row a boat. This photo claims to show Red Cross personnel participating in rescue efforts. However, the clothes of the rescue workers, especially their white pants, show no sign of mud, which doesn't match the muddy environment around them. It's clearly a fabrication. The same goes for this photo. The person rescued and lying on the stretcher has no mud on his shoe soles. They are completely clean. The helmet he's wearing is the same as those worn by the rescuers, so he looks like part of the rescue team. It's clear that this is staged, and the falsification lacks professionalism. Tenthly, the extent of the damage and casualties in the disaster-stricken areas is severe, but the authorities are concealing the truth. Regarding how many people out of the 660,000 population of Zhuozhou managed to escape and how many have died, the authorities may never disclose the actual number. A resident of Zhuozhou mentioned that a classmate of his worked at Zhuozhou TV station. After the flood water receded, he accompanied a rescue team to the disaster area to film. When they opened a door, they saw a room full of bodies floating in the water. But their superiors still instructed them to report 0 casualties and 0 deaths. And there are even more other unspeakable inside stories. His classmate suffered from psychological distress and couldn't continue working. This post says that in one village, out of over 500 residents, only one young man managed to escape. The extent of property loss is also difficult to estimate. Just the losses from an oil exploration institution alone amount to no less than 10 billion RMB. The post also states that by August the 3rd, the CCP ordered all civilian rescue teams to withdraw and control was handed over to the CCP's Central Theater Command. This was to prevent civilian rescue teams from revealing the true extent of the disaster. Therefore, the loss of life caused by this flood is likely to remain a mystery until the CCP's downfall, much like many other disasters. Furthermore, many online videos show countless dead animals in disaster-stricken areas. These animals need urgent disinfection. If not handled properly, it may lead to disease outbreaks or contamination issues in the future. 11thly, people rise up in resistance during and after the flood disaster. Incidents of people rising up in resistance have occurred. For example, on August 4th, residents from Bazhou City, Hebei province, protested in front of the government building. The reason was that official television reports stated that the flooding in Bazhou was caused by heavy rain. However, the truth is that the flood was caused by deliberate water discharge. If the flood was caused by water discharge, according to official regulations, villagers are eligible for compensation, but if it's attributed to heavy rain, compensation wouldn't be granted. This led villagers to rise up in protest. This is on August 7th. Bazhou residents continued their protests, and some of them were beaten by the police. In conclusion, these are some simple observations I've made about the characteristics of this flood disaster. Currently, Typhoon Kanu, the 6th typhoon of this year, is also expected to hit northeastern China, which may lead to further disasters in that region. So the aftermath of the flood is not entirely over. According to officials, it may take about a month for the flood waters in Zhuozhou to completely recede. Regarding the various crises China has been facing recently, a netizen commented, "It's as if there's a divine hand completing the endgame puzzle for the CCP." This netizen said, from the Hong Kong anti-extradition protests to the COVID-19 pandemic, from the Russia-Ukraine conflict to the spy balloon incident, unexpected yet foreseeable events have gradually exposed the immense threat the CCP poses to the free world. Breaking through its strategy of hiding its capabilities and biding its time. Finally, an external environment of the world besieging the CCP has been formed. As for the internal situation, after 3 years of zero COVID lockdowns and various disturbances, depleting finances, decreasing efficiency in various government departments, ineffective stability maintenance, deepening unemployment crisis, stalled real estate market, impending banking failures, unsustainable foreign trade, and sluggish domestic demand have brought the CCP's political foundation to its most fragile point since 1949. Added to this is the grassroots society, which is reorganizing and developing political independence through disaster relief efforts, and the army that is being cornered by Xi Jinping. So the only options left for the military will be mutiny or defection. In terms of the external environment from Europe to America to Taiwan, Japan, and South Korea, where preparations for war are underway, everything is pointing to the final thing this power will present when completed. And this final thing is the CCP's doomsday scenario. Do you agree with these comments? All right, finally, I'll show you a 3-minute video depicting the post-disaster situation in Zhuozhou. Take a look and see if it resembles a doomsday scenario. Well, that's all for today. Please remember to subscribe to my channel and double check if you are still subscribed. If you enjoy my content, please kindly share my channel and videos and visit my website at jenniferzengblog.com for membership or donations to support my efforts. Thank you. See you next time.